Mills versus MOA. So I want to talk about, what does that mean when we say MOA versus mill? Why you want to think about moving, or not even think, why you want to go to a mill scope for PRS and the benefits of that, and then we'll have some final thoughts. So if you're ready to go, let's get to it. Look, I'm going to use an example of this scope today, right? This is my Vortex Razor Gen 3. This is a mill scope. Vortex sells this in two options, an MOA reticle and a mill reticle. So I'm going to put those up here on the screen, and we're going to talk about those differences, right? If you're used to hunting, you're used to an MOA scope, most likely. When you go to the range and you shoot 100 yards out and you take the measurement of that group, what comes off it? In fact, let me put that up there. I'll put that up there first. The target that I've shot, it's going to show you what the group size is. And this particular one, it says, let me see here. In fact, I'll put that right up there. If you look at this, it says the group size is 0.4 inches, 7 shots. In parentheses there, it says 0.382 MOA, minute of angle. Okay. Basically what we're talking about is, in the MOA world, at 100 yards, 1 MOA is 1.047 inches. That's what it is in a linear measurement, right? We're actually talking angular measurements, but we're bringing it into a linear measurement that we can comprehend in our scope and via our reticle. So I'm not going to get into the super duper details, but basically that's what it is. Just think about that. 1 MOA at 100 yards, 1.047 inches. 1 mil radian, 1 mil at 100 yards is 3.6 inches. Well, that's that to that, right? This is all kind of confusing, isn't it? We're not going to get confused. Even if we've been shooting MOA our whole hunting life, when we want to come over to PRS, we're going to go get a mill scope, right? And that's what we're going to use. Don't get hung up on this thing of it's got mill reticle, but MOA dials, or mill dials with MOA reticle. Just get mill, you're going to be fine, right? Just get mill, you're going to be fine. You're going to hear things, however, like, how wide is that target? You're going to hear people talk in different terminologies here, right? Because what you're going to say and what you're going to see on a course of fire is you're going to shoot the 2 MOA target at 600 yards. And you're going to go, wait a minute, I thought we were all in mills here. What is this 2 MOA target jargon here now, right? Just get used to that, right? Just think about what that means. If 1 MOA at 100 yards is 1.047 inches, then a 2 MOA target at 600 yards is roughly 13 inches, right? 2 MOA is roughly 13 inches at 600 yards. Think roughly, get in the idea of roughly, and you will be much better off. Don't sit there with a calculator, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So with that being said, let's look at what we mean. Let's take a look at what happens at a match when someone's shooting an MOA scope and they're asking us for advice. Your first, second, or third match, you still have your MOA scope. You're sitting there with your squad. The first 3 shooters came off the line, and someone asks them about the wind. What was your wind? Okay. The answers are usually the wrong answers, and I talked about this in a wind video, but you will hear 3/10 left, 6/10 left, 4/10 right. From an MOA perspective, if I heard someone say 6/10 left, I would immediately go, okay, that's 2 MOA. Because there's roughly three tenths of a mil in 1 MOA. Okay, just there's a rough calculation. I know I'll get comments, it's 3.12576, whatever. I'm just saying at the range, when you're in a match, that's what you're thinking. Roughly 3/10 of a mil to 1 MOA. That's roughly what you're thinking here. So if you were shooting your MOA scope, that's what you would hear. You would hear 6/10, 2 MOA. Okay, 2 MOA right. 2 MOA right. All right. But do you really want to go through all that? The real answer to the question of what was your wind, and the whole squad that I shoot with now, we are really getting in the habit of this. What was your wind? It was a 10-mile-an-hour full value. That's the right answer. Then everyone, depending on the cartridge they're shooting, the velocity they're shooting, anything, the bullet, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter then if you are mil or MOA, because I'm just going to plug in 10 miles an hour, full value wind, and I'm going to get for my rifle, my velocity, what I should be holding or dialing for wind for that stage and that target. But I digress. Let's get back to this. You really want to be able to hear, though, I think that's a 3/10 wind. I think that's a 5/10 wind, because that's what a lot of people are going to be talking like. When you're just starting out, here's the other big thing. We are able to coach you until you've shot 3 or 4 or 5 PRS matches and you're up in that range, that kind of lower mid-pack range. We are able to give you direction while you're on the clock. Now, you're looking through an MOA scope, you're missing, and you know what we're telling you? Come left 5/10. Come left a 1/2 mil. Come left 4/10. Come right 3/10. You're on the clock. You don't have time to sit there with your MOA scope going, okay, he just said 3/10. That means I should come 1 MOA, right? You don't have time to do that. You just don't. Theoretically, what we should be telling you is come 1/2 plate right? Or come a full plate left or whatever. And that would mean the target. But we all say different things at different times. So my point here is, if you just go to mil and just get used to it, you will be much better off. Let's talk about how you're going to use this and practice with it. So if you've got that hunting rifle, that's what you're going to use for PRS. Just go get a mil scope. It doesn't have to be the best scope out there. Just get something to start with, right? One of those discovery scopes that I did some reviews on. Those things are less than $500. Go get one mounted up there, and you really start to understand the turret system, the reticle system. Get a good reticle. Get something like this EBR 7C or 7D reticle that Vortex has. Those are great reticles. And what I want you to do is go outside, go to the range. You don't have to fire any shots just yet. Think about it. Get your ballistics calculator out. Put some wind in there. Put some elevation in there. Dial it all up. Look at a telephone pole. Look at a tree. Imagine there's wind. Imagine you're going to have to hold 6/10 of wind. Get in the habit of doing that, because unless you really get used to that reticle, you're going to be stuck on that MOA reticle. And that can really mess you up, because you've got 2/10 subtensions in a mil scope, mil reticle. Like if you look at this Vortex Razor Gen 3, mil reticle, I'll put that up here, you can see that 2/10 subtensions. It's got a 1/2 mil mark on the windage as well. And you've really got to get used to those. Get used to thinking. Someone's telling you in your ear, hold 4/10 left. Where's the 4/10? It's that second subtension there, right? Get in the habit of doing that. And you will very quickly understand what's what. Dial. Get very used to dialing, right? You're going to do less dialing with a mil scope than you are an MOA scope. Trust me, you are. So rig something up. In your ballistics app, put a target at 450, 650, 825. Put them in there, get the elevations, and start coming off your scope, dialing, going down. Coming off, dialing, going down. One thing that's really saved me a lot is this scope tape. But this stuff is great because you can take a marker, a dry erase marker. This is what I do. If I have 3 targets, I've got 3 red lines on this thing that I can quickly dial to. Do stuff like that, practicing, and you'll be fine. You'll very quickly turn into a mil scope guy or gal. I just wanted to talk to you about this because I've seen a lot of it lately where guys are coming out with their MOA scopes and they're having a really hard time at the match because we're all talking mils and they're not, they haven't even taken the time to figure out the calculation between those two, right? And even if you do that, if you want to still use the MOA scope, in your mind, you've got to quickly be able to go from 6/10 of a mil to 2 MOA, right? 3/10 in increments, and you'll be fine for now. But I would really stress that you get that mil scope and start figuring it out. Well, hey, thanks for watching, everyone. I just wanted to bring this up because I've seen it a lot. I've got some other stuff coming out, especially with some guests that are going to be on the videos talking about some things that I think are pretty interesting. So until next time, shoot straight.